Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Mommy Guide Inc. So, for those who are new to the channel and you do not know me yet, I am Mommy Lala, and welcome to my Craft Everyday in August series where we talk about the basics of crafting, a lot more on paper crafting, but we also tackle a little bit of the other crafts that Mommy Lala is actually very passionate about as well. So, again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. First, a little bit of admin work. Can you hear me properly? Because I think I watched the replay from yesterday and I think my audio was not working quite well because it wasn't picking the mic, but it was picking the one from my computer. So I hope that today the audio is better. All right. So with that, okay, again, thank you so much for joining me and joining us early on in the chat. My dear friend, Doc Dinky, hello. And of course, my newest crafty BFF, Christelle. Thank you so much, my dear friends. I know it's quite early for you, and for you to be able to come just say hi and hello is truly, very awesome. Hello, good morning, Vicky. Thank you so much for dropping by. Vicky has a new video uploaded, so if you have not checked that out, please do so. She actually talked about how you can actually create a very awesome thing where you can hide the paper clip and you can actually use that for your art journals as well. Loud and clear. Thank you so much, my dear friend. All right. Yes, hear you clearly. See, thank you so much. See, my friends are not just very supportive, but they actually also help me out with that tech. All right, so let's head on to the meat of, today's episode. And that is about layering dies. We did talk about dies and die cutting machines earlier on in the episode of Craft Everyday in August. So if you missed that and you want to check those out, please head on to the link in the description of this video where there is a link to the playlist for all the videos that I actually did, live streams I did for the month of August. And check out the one about die cutting machines. Now, there's a specific die that I love so much. And for by now, if you have been following us, you know that I struggle with coloring. And the thing about layering dies is you can actually use different colors or coordinating colors of cardstocks or paper and come up with something that looks like you actually colored them. And so for me, when this was actually released for the first time, anyway, the one that I know of, I was super excited. Although on the flip side, it's kind of spendy. It's more expensive than your usual dies because it actually contains a lot more metal dies, right? So it's very understandable. But as I said, for me, it is something super worth it because I don't need to color. At the same time, I can use it again and again and again. So now stop making flat cards and let's try layering dies instead. All right, thank you again for the people coming in. Just now, I see that our dear friend Jenna has joined us in the chat. Thank you so much, Jenna. Thank you so much. And everybody saying hi to everybody. And of course, our dear friend Wims. Okay, Maridan actually is her name. Okay, but I love calling her Wims of Whimsical Thoughts is also here right now. All right, so everybody saying hi to everyone. All right, let's go back. So a short history of dies, okay? Although what we're going to specifically be doing tonight are layering dies. These are dies where each of them you would cut separately using different colors, and then when you layer it, it looks like a 3D version of the actual image of whatever it is you want to die cut. So in the countdown, I actually showed you some of these dies that I'm going to be working on tonight, and yes, they're from Altenew. Okay, so for me, Altenew was the very first where I actually learned about this, awesome layering dies. All right, so these dies are dies in general are designed to be cut, and the layering dies are designed to be cut and stacked in layers. Okay, so they create dimensions with multiple cutouts. So yes, you do need a die cutting machine for this, my friends. And the common themes are, of course, organic kind. So and the geometric one. So you have flowers and leaves, you have geometric backgrounds, doilies, and mandalas. So they are normally used for characters or scenes and often used with foam, tape, or glue for 3D effect. All right. So the tools that you will need, okay? So since this will be a layering dies, all right? So die cuts. So definitely you need a die cutting machine, whether it be manual or electric. And if you are still on the fence, what to get? Okay, I actually did, a very thorough, episode about different die cutting machines. And yes, you can check that out. The link is in the description of this video. And then, of course, you do need your layering die sets. There's so many manufacturers right now who actually do this. Okay, but the ones I'm going to be showing you are my favorites, and they are from Altenew. And the cardstock, of course, or the pattern paper or vellum or glitter paper that you would want to use to do your layered cuts. And of course, to put them together, you do need your adhesives, right? Oops, sorry. Okay, you do need your adhesives like your liquid glue, tape runner, or foam tape. So I'll probably use all of them tonight. And then, of course, tweezers or craft pick, because most of the time there are very, very tiny pieces as you try to layer them on. And of course, storage envelopes or magnetic sheets to keep your different dies for your layering die set together. Especially when the very smaller ones, okay, you might lose it. So it's nice that you do have like the magnetic sheets, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. Okay, so before we move on, okay, hold on, my friends. I will just go to this view. I just need to open the aircon because it's super hot. Hold on. I just need to open it. Sorry about that, my friends. I realized I forgot to open the AC, and with all these lights on, I'm melting, literally like an ice cream over here. All right, so let's start out with, okay, as I said, the materials, right? So I already did the pre-cutting because there is a lot. Okay, so for this project, this is basically what I used. Okay, so for those who were not here during that video, this is actually an example of a die cutting machine. Right? So basically what I did was, okay, hold on. So I would just choose the die, okay, and then I would put them in my sandwich, okay, put the paper on top, and then run it through, okay, my die cutting machine. Okay, so I turned it on. Okay, there you go, turned it on. Okay, so let's put it aside first. Sorry about that. Okay, so I am using a Gemini. So these are my shims, or my sandwich. So that's my first cutting plate. My what do you call this? My rubber mat. Okay, and then of course I put my plastic shim. All right, so different die cutting machines have different shims, and then my magnetic sheet. Okay, and then I will put the dies on top, and then my metal sheet, shim, and then another cutting plate. So for example, okay, so let's just go through, okay, an example. Let's say I want to create this, okay, this flower. So if you see, you have this die toward that. Okay, so that's how you actually do it. Right? So, okay. I'm not supposed to show you yet the process, just the materials. Okay? So, we will do the process later as we go through it, because I think the only thing I showed was the materials. Okay? So, there. So, these are the different materials actually for the flower. As you can see, you have this die plus this die plus that die plus that die would give you this. Okay, and this is called the Craft a Flower Rose Layering Die Set, of course, from Altenew. Okay, and then you would choose the different kinds of paper that you want to use. Okay, so let me see what I have here. All right, so I think I still have this one for that. So normally you start with the lightest. Okay, so for whatever is the most solid of all the pieces, you use the lightest and then you go to the darkest. Okay, so that is how I actually use it. Okay, I'm just looking for papers if I still have some that are just, so that I don't cut new ones anymore. All right, so I still have some here. I am just looking for my, okay, scissors. All right, and then the next darkest one would be for that one. Okay, and then the next darkest would be for the next layer. And finally, the darkest one would be for that. Okay, and then I will just run it through my die cutting machine later. Okay, I will show you that later as we go through the process. So again, your cutting machine, okay, your dies, layering die set, and then your desired pattern or colored cardstock like so. All right, so before I go back to the next process, let me see if there are new things happening in the chat. So far, none. Again, so if you are watching and just lurking, that's absolutely fine. All right, so now after you have the tools you need, now this is the step-by-step basic layering. So again, as I mentioned, select a layering die set, which we already have. So we started with, okay, the rose, right? So we started with the rose. I just know where I placed. Oh, there you go. Okay, so we started with the rose, this one. Okay, and then we cut each layer with coordinating cardstock or specialty paper. We already put the the papers that we want, and then arrange the pieces in order, base layer to top layer detail. So I'll show you that in a bit. And then you can adhere them with glue or foam tape for more depth. Okay, and then finally add the finishing touches, whether you want to put them in a card with sentiments, gems, or sequins. All right, so let me see if I can. All right, okay. So let's go back to this one. So like I mentioned, so I will just put this. Okay, so my metal shim and my second cutting plate. Okay, so again, this is how the layers, okay, this is how the sandwich is for my die cutting machine, and I will just push it through. Okay, you can hear it a little bit. I pushed it through because my die cutting machine is here. So if you can see, it was moving. All right, and then okay, so there it got already, it's done. Okay, and so this is the result. Okay, so again, since I didn't put any adhesives or washi tape onto, okay, the process, so basically it moved a little. So this is the first. Okay, and then this is the second. Okay, so if you can see, it cut perfectly. All right, and then this is the third. So what I will do now, okay, with the die is to put them back. Okay, so if you can see, okay, so I put this is a fairly cheap magnetic sheet. Okay, so you can buy this in any, office supply store or bookstore. It's a magnetic sheet, so that, okay, so when I put, because originally there's just a little bit of adhesive strip on the packaging, so I want it to really be together and really be at, it's not gonna fall off when I store it. So I put it like so. Okay, so let's remove the other parts of the die cut. Right, so this is it. Okay, so if you can see, that's the third part. Okay, all right, and then this is the last one. Okay, so again, you start off with the one with the biggest surface area. Okay, normally I would always, so then you can either decide to, if there's still some parts of it you can use, so you don't throw, you just set it aside. And then the dies that you used, okay, you just put back, okay, in their container like so. Okay, and then I will put it back in a plastic, okay, like this, to hold it and keep it from, dust. And that's how I actually store it, right? So again, look, going back, okay, to what we have, I'll just, put the die cutting plates aside. Okay, so there is actually a place at the back where I put them. So going back, excuse me. All right. Okay, let me see. I think I have a nicer one. Sorry about that. I think I need a water. Tammy, can you kindly give me water, sweetheart? So let's look at the guide, okay? So when you buy this layering die set, it does come with a guide on how you actually is supposed to layer it. So with this one, okay, this is the Craft a Flower Rose layering die set from Altenew. Excuse me. So if you can see, that's the the die that has the largest what do you call this, biggest area. Hold on, my friends, I need to drink water. Hold on. Oh no, I don't have water. Sam, water please. I actually don't have water here, so Sam is getting me one. All right, and then followed by the next one. Okay. And then if you can see, as it moves from the widest one, biggest surface area, then it gets smaller, smaller, smaller. The colors also darkens. All right. Okay, so excuse me once again. I just need to drink. Thank you so much, Sam. All right, so let's just put it over there to prevent accidents. Okay, so what you do is look at that. It says that one. Okay, and look at the orientation. So I will just kind of follow. So I feel that this one more or less is the same. Okay, so it's not like that. It's like this. See, my guide is that flat one. All right, so it's over the second layer, which is the second darkest. Okay, so it looks like that. So normally, if you would see, okay, so where do I put it, Mami Lala? Okay, so there will be a part of the one of the edges that will somehow coincide with it. So you see that? So this part is the one that, somehow, okay, and that part, see that part? Okay, so when it doesn't matter if over here it doesn't like fit perfectly, because really your guide would have to be that and that. So as long as those two are in place, everything else will follow. Okay, so what we do now is, we grab our, tweezers. If you do have like a reverse tweezer, that would be nice. Okay, but if not, it's okay. Let me see. This one is kind of stuck. Okay, I think I forgot to close it. Hold on. I just need I just need a pin. Actually push it in a bit. Alright, my friends. I just needed to push a pin into it. Okay, I think what happened to this one? I forgot to close it properly. Okay, so now it has. Where are my other mini? Okay, let me see if I can find my other somewhere here. I don't have a lot, but somehow, okay, I can't find any of them right now. So I will just have to try and unclog. Okay, so to unclog your adhesive, I actually want to use liquid glue for this one, and one that is actually has a fine tip. Okay, so I'm just trying to unclog there. I feel it's already done. All right, so that's how you unclog your glue. Okay, so let's go back to this one. So make sure that you are actually adding adhesive onto the back. Okay, I'm trying to find the widest part where I can actually glue it. There you go. If you can see, the glue is now flowing. Okay, again, try not to overdo it. Okay, so that it's easier to actually adhere without, too much of a mess, because the excess glue will seep through. Right, so there you go. Okay, and then, okay, just find the place where it actually aligns. And before we actually added adhesive, we looked for that already. And this is a very old layering die set. And so nowadays, the new layering die sets actually has a guide. Okay, a better guide than their predecessors. Again, this is an old one. Okay, this is one of the very firsts. It's several years old. So layering die set is not actually new. It's been here for a while, right? So just like layering stamps. Okay, so just this one, it already looks beautiful, right? So and then we move on to the next layer. And this will be that one. All right. So again, before I put it, I put adhesive, I will look for, okay, so which part, oh, actually is going to be where I want to, align it. And that would be, so that part and then this side. Okay, so that's how I'm going to align that. And then everything else will follow. Okay, so let it just lie there. Okay, not all of the edges need to align with anything, right? So that's how it's gonna look like. Okay, and so I'm gonna hold on to a specific part of it. Okay, and now just add my adhesives. Okay, so having a fine tip, okay, for your adhesive actually really is beautiful because you don't need to, so that you can control the amount of adhesive that comes out. Okay, so that you don't get too much. Actually, that's a little bit much, but that is fine. So from what we did earlier, I know that I should align it over here. Okay, and the nice thing, why am I using liquid glue? Is because liquid glue does take a little bit of a while for it to actually become permanent. So if I do need to, tweak it a little bit, meaning move it a little bit or so like that, then I can do so without any problem. Okay, but once it dries up, then that is permanent. Okay, so there you go. Now do you see, especially from afar, how it absolutely looks like it's actually so real, right? And finally, the last one, which should be your darkest color. Again, you start with the biggest, the widest area should be the lightest down to the darkest, okay? But there are times where sometimes you do need to start with the lightest, okay? So again, just check out the guide, okay, that is given to you. So in this case, this is going to be the part where we should align the next layer. Okay, and then, all right, and then everything else, okay, will follow. Okay, so it would look something like that. It's so beautiful, right? All right, so I will just hold on to it again a little bit. So you do need, fine tweezers like this one, either the reverse type, meaning the reverse kind of tweezers is, they say more ergonomic because the minute that you pinch the paper, it stays close. Okay, so the minute you release, okay, so it's not as if you don't need to put a lot of pressure holding it because it's actually already closed in the beginning. And then to open it up, that's when you actually put a pressure on it. Okay, but this is just a regular tweezer. Anyway, I'm not gonna be holding it too long, so that's fine. Okay, so I'm okay. Okay, but I do have those kinds of tweezers as well, especially when I need to be working with, I will be doing this with a lot of projects. So it does help if you have that kind of tweezers. So again, okay, having the liquid glue instead of, using your tape runner for this kinds of layering is awesome. So you see, that is our first layering die set. It is beautiful, right? So on its own, look at that. Amazing, right? So the papers I actually am using are also from Altenew. So Altenew came up with this gradient cardstock kit that is perfect for layering. Now, it doesn't have to be only Altenew. If you have, I'm sure most of you have, especially in the chat, right? So when you buy, let's say purple or blue, you normally don't buy just one color. You buy like several gradients of it, right? So from lighter to darkest, it doesn't have to be Altenew. But Altenew, because they knew that eventually this would come in handy, right? If you are going to be using their layering die set. So they did release something like this. So it comes in various colors. So this one, okay, is called the new This is new purple. So you have different names for their paper line. So this one is called Wisteria, Deep Iris, Ultraviolet, Andromeda. So it's not very, very thick, okay, because you're going to be layering it anyhow. Okay, so I have here already some that I have prepared, and now all we need to do is to put them together. Okay, so this is another one. Okay, so we'll do it again so I can show you. And if yes, this is again a craft a rose. And on top of the flowers, it also comes with a set of leaves, two different kinds of leaves. Again, layering dies as well. So you start out with the wider surface area of the leaf, and then you make it a little darker for the second layer, and then the third one would be like that. And then when you put them together, it looks like that. The same thing with this. Right? So that is those dice over there. All right. So, okay, I will try to put the link in the description after the video. Okay, I don't think I was able to finish putting down all the links because today is Sunday for me, my friends. And Sunday is actually, Sunday nights is when I do my Bible study. So, I normally don't have that much time to prepare, every Sundays. All right. So now I just have to look for where I want to. Okay, so that's where I'm going to start with that one. So just like that. So let's do this again. So for those who are just coming in right now, thank you so much for being here. And yes, we are doing what we call a layering, die set. So from the word itself, it just basically means that we layer different die cuts to create that, depth and dimension that most of the time you may want to. If you're looking for depth and dimension in your cards or paper projects, this is a great way to actually do so. All right. And then we just put this over there. Okay, so prior to adding the adhesive, I made sure that I know, where I should align. Okay, so normally you just look for, the places. In this case, it was just this one and that one, and everything else will just fall into place like so. All right, and then again, as we said, from light to darkest. Okay, so then look for this one. This one will have, to be this part. So this is the part where we're gonna be. Okay, and then this part. Okay, and everything else, this part basically will follow. All right, so what is the chat doing or saying? Okay, let me see. Oh, Wims just got home from church and also had dinner after. Thank you so much for being here, Wims, while you try to relax and yes, probably prepare Mira for bed and then put her to bed in a little as well. And I know that it's Sunday morning for some of you, and it's actually Sunday evening for those who are in my side of the globe. And yes, tomorrow is a work day. So hopefully you've had, enough time to actually spend time with family, go to church, and also got a little bit of a me time. Okay, before you start, facing another week of, work ahead of you. All right. So again, thank you so much for making me a part of your weekend regimen today. All right. So that's the second layer. I mean, the third one. Okay. So yes, Sammy saying have a blessed day to everyone. Okay, and you too said, Vicky, right? It's so pretty indeed, right? So again, the reason I got hooked into layering dice is because I am not so good with coloring. And I know most of you know about that. I can do basic, very basic, but nothing like when you see my coloring, you would like say, wow. Nothing like that, my friend. But it has gotten better. I have to give myself a little bit credit, right? So be nicer to myself, right? So I have come a long, long ways, my friends. Believe me. If you would have seen how I used to color in the beginning, you would like, what? my granddaughter could do a better job than Mommy Lala. That was how bad I was. I couldn't even, make the colors stay within lines. That's how bad I was with coloring. And worse than that was actually the, how which colors to put together. Up to now, I actually struggle with that. But somehow, I've learned to relax. Okay, a little bit about, that one. It doesn't bother me as much as it used to. Okay, what will be, que sera, so to speak. What will be, right? As long as I'm able to do that. So now I have two. Okay, so I used, what do you call this? Hold on, let me see. I think I used this one. Yes, this is the red cosmos. No, not the red cosmos. I think I use, yes, this one, the rose petal, okay, collection. So that's the lightest, followed by this, then this, and this is the darkest one. So this is what I used, okay? The gradient cardstock from Altenew for this one. All right, and then for the green one, okay, I think hopefully I can still find, okay, the green one I used. So for the green, I actually used it all up. Okay, so the only one left is the the name of the product. Everything has been used up. It's called the Green Meadows. Again, these are the colors. Okay, from it. So normally three to four, but for the green there are only three colors. Okay, so and that's basically what I will be using for most of. Okay, and then since that was not enough, I actually pulled out some of my old papers, my scrapbooking papers. So I have my lightest, mid, and then darkest greens. All right. So I'm going to be using that. I'm not sure if it's American crafts or if it's basil. But anyway, they're very old collections of mine. All right. So basically what we're doing is, again, where do you align this one? So for this one, okay, I just needed to find, okay, so I knew that one and this one, so at the bottom, they actually align. So that is how it's going to look like. All right. So I will just, again, put adhesive at the back side of this one to create my leaves. Okay. And later on, we will put them together once we've finished, attaching everything. Okay. And then create cards out of it. Okay, so for most of the episode, sometimes, okay, I show you a finished card. Sometimes I just give you inspiration. Okay, so basically, I'm showing you right now how to put them, okay, your layering dice together. Again, it would show in the guide. So there's the guide, right? So the solid one followed by the next wider one. And then the last one would be this kind of detail, right? So this one, all right? And so that's the one I'm going to put at the top, okay, of that one. Okay, so this is very fun, right? So I like seeing, the outcome. Like how amazing it is to look at it. Like, wow, I didn't need to color. And yet, it looks so 3D, right? So the depth and dimension that actually results after is amazing, right? And then if you want further details, you can even ink the sides if you want to, right? Or maybe you want to add maybe white acrylic marker, okay, if you want. Okay, so that's one of the kinds of the leaves. And then there's that other kind of leaf, this one, right? So where you have three leaves on the stem, okay, and then you add this one, and then you add that most, the other detail, and you come up with something like that. All right, and so that's what we're gonna do with this one. So I've already done the die cutting earlier, so you can see some of the what do you call that? The tape, the washi tape, because normally I attach a washi tape, especially if I'm trying to save up on paper. So instead of using I would cut them into very, very tiny strips so that, I can not waste paper. I will just try to make it as the same size as possible as the die so that I can still use the rest for future projects. All right. So I do have to remove those washi tapes so that when you put your adhesive, it will actually really stick to your paper. Okay, so there you go. So again, having a fine tip uh, for your adhesive is awesome, so that it won't be hard for you to actually put detailed adhesive onto the back of your die cuts. Okay, so for this one, it actually is the same shape as your and length as your your stalk. Okay, and then your leaves, but it does layer like so. Beautiful. But it doesn't end there. Now you add the darkest. Okay, again from lightest to dark. Okay, and it does add the other parts of your leaves, right? So how beautiful is that? Okay. Yes, it's so pretty, right, Vicky? And that is a gorgeous flower. I have never used a layer dye. Yes, it's quite, it's been here for years. I don't think it really got very popular, in a sense that it's a little bit more pricey. Because again, it involves more dyes, right? So, but for me, I love, 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 love it so much, because I struggle with coloring. And if I want something that looks awesome and yet I don't need to color, and if I need to create a lot, this is something that is going to be so fast to create. So when I actually have this dice out, I would ask, either my daughter or my nanny or my son to help me out, and I'll give them a lot of papers. All right, different, the scraps. If I have scraps of different papers, I would actually, okay, this one can still be used. Can you cut out, some of these from the papers that I give you? Okay, and then we will just, put them together like so. Okay, so I don't think I added adhesive onto this one. Okay, so I forgot. All right, because it's not actually sticking anything, because I forgot to put adhesive on that part. All right, so there you go. All right, so there. Now I will just put it together, okay, and create my awesome layer later on. Right, so something like that. How beautiful is that? Right, so all you need is your card base and you're good to go. All right, so this is our layering die set rose. Okay, so that's our first one. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one looks like this. All right, so again, I feel that layering die sets are perfect for organic stuff, like as I mentioned, or geometric stuff, right? So this is called Open Bloom 3D die set, and it does look like this. Okay, let me see. Maybe if I put it down, it's gonna focus better. Focus. Okay. It wants me to become a soprano, but I'm an alto, right? So there you go. Okay, so there's also a different kind of leaf this time. So there's two kinds, all right? So it's an open bloom. Okay, so it's like a flower. It's like the rose as well, but instead of like looking at it like this way, it's like looking at it from the side, right? So that you can see like this kind, right? So it's called an open bloom. So for this one, look, it has how many dies? Okay, so it has 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, you start with the lightest, then becomes darker, darker, darkest. Okay, and then the other details, somehow you start with this, with that, and then you go back. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to create this beautiful open bloom, okay, flower. And for the leaves, you have this plus this one to get this leaf. Okay, and then this plus this to get this leaf. Okay, so I'll show you. Okay, and so let us assemble it. Okay, so again, you always start, okay, with your base, the one with the biggest area. Okay, and then you move on to the next one. Okay, again, as I said before, I actually put adhesive on it. Okay, again, this is one of the earliest layering die sets in the market. And the layering die sets now have actually, even easier instructions on how to layer them. Okay, they would tell you exactly, let's say they have a color there. That means, okay, that's the part that you will layer and this one. Okay, I'll show you that in a little bit. So in this case, this is the part where you actually layer, right? So once this is layered, this is aligned, then everything else will follow. All right, so let's put adhesive onto this side. If you can see, yes, I am using, okay, oh, there's still a little bit of washi tape there. Okay, I am using, what do you call this? Fine tip. Okay, and then liquid adhesive instead of glue tape or tape runner. Okay, again, it gives me time or a wiggle room before it actually dries up, so I can still move it if, let's say, I wasn't able to align it the first time I tried to put it on, right? So, okay, again, I said this is the part where we're supposed to line it up. So this is actually also a very mindful kind of activity. So if you're kind of getting worried or you're stressed out, maybe you would want to try this out because you do need to concentrate a little bit. And so everything will, somehow, okay, you will probably be able to forget whatever it is that's, worrying you for a bit because you need to focus on putting them together, right? So that's the first. Okay, we move on to the next one, which is this part. Okay, and so that is this. Okay, so first and foremost, I have to check where I want to align that. All right, so eventually it's this part. Okay, so I will adhere that and that over here, and then the rest will just follow. All right, so put it like so. Okay, so I hope that everybody has had their coffee, tea, or for those on my side of the globe, that you have actually been able to, finished with dinner, church service, and that you are now preparing for bed or preparing for work for tomorrow. Okay, so some households in the Philippines, they do actually, we say baon, okay, which means that instead of buying their food, okay, for work or for school, they actually cook home cooked food, which they will eat for snack, or we call it merienda, okay, or lunch, so that they can save up at the same time, make sure that what their kids or themselves eat are actually healthy. So it's not always fast food, right? So there you go. And then the next one would be this, but I have to check. Okay, so this is where I will align it. Okay, so I will make sure that that is aligned to that and that this one as well. All right, so now I will put my adhesive. Okay, so again, you look at this one. They're what do you call this? Very pointed tip for my tweezers. So I don't need to hold it. Okay, I don't need a lot of space to hold it because I do want to make sure that I have placed enough adhesive, especially with this tiny, tiny die cuts, right? So if you want to see more impressive, putting adhesive on very, very tiny die cuts, head on to Shanna and Jana. Okay, so where they put very, very, very tiny pieces together. All right, isn't that beautiful? All right, remember there are 7 layers to this. We're done with 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 3 more layers. Okay, and that layer includes this part, this, and this. All right, so this part, okay, you have to check where that one goes. Okay, and I feel that has to go. Okay, let me see. Okay, I have to determine this one first, my friends, the last 3 layers, as I am unsure, okay, of how to go about it. Okay, let me just grab the last 3. So I have this piece, and this piece. All right, so these are the 3 layers, okay? And I feel that this one, okay, somehow resonates with that. And then this one resonates with this. All right. So I think that's it. No, 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 no. This one first, and then this will be last. Okay, as you can see from here, okay, I start with this. I add this, and I add this long part last. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so you do need to, just take a deep breath, double check the template. Okay, where am I supposed to put this and that? Okay, that's just too much glue, so sometimes I would do like that. Okay, onto my finger and just dab a little bit of that away so that it's not gonna be okay, it's not gonna bleed too much onto my work and make it dirty. So there you go. And then we adhere this one on top. Okay, as said here, so that one we already added that, and then we do this one. All right, so we will hold on to this. Okay, like so. Okay, I just realized that I was supposed to have a meeting with my dear friend Sherry. Okay, my friend from Florida, supposedly today. But I think I forgot to actually message her. Okay, so maybe she was waiting. So share, if you are watching this by chance on replay, I'm sorry, my friend. My goodness, I forgot that we were supposed to have a Zoom call, just to keep updated on each other. It's almost her birthday pretty soon, right? So she is a dear, dear friend of mine. Okay, she is based in Florida. All right, so this one, where do I align it? Okay, it aligns on this part. Okay, so check that out. See, this part. Okay, so that part. Okay, so now I just need to flip it and add adhesive again. So again, this is a beautiful and easy way to come up with depth, dimension, and awesome color. Okay, it may think that, wow, Lala, that's such a pretty coloring. Take a look again. I actually didn't color that. That's actually layering dyes, right? So it's like layered. Now, if you want even more depth, instead of just attaching it directly, you can even put foam. Okay, so that it's a little bit more higher. Okay, so if you want more depth and dimension. Okay, so if you're just gonna hand the card anyway to the recipient, then you can actually do that, because if it's more bulky, then it probably is more expensive. Yes, I have. Okay. Oh, sorry. I already read that. Yes, it does look Luria. I never have either. I have a layered rose stencil. That's it. Oh, it's very similar, right? So layering dies and layering stamps, layering stencil, the concept is the same, right? It's that for the actual dies, you can actually really have that depth and dimension, right? So you can have the look of a dimension, okay, with layering stencils and stamps, but with actual dice, layering dice, you can really have that depth, okay, that physical depth, because it really, will absolutely give you that one, because you can even put foam on top, okay, underneath, and have that depth, which now stamping or stenciling, okay, it can have the look of depth and dimension, but not have the actual feel of it. So this is what our leaves would look like. Okay, I actually want to create two of each, okay, so that we can put it underneath the flower, and not just one leaf under. So I may have the option to add not just one but several underneath. So that's what these leaves would look like, right? So so I had to do the die cutting ahead of time. Okay, so before I actually started my Bible study earlier, I made sure that I had this already cut, so that during our time today, it is already just, ready for putting together, right? So I hope that this is not a waste of your time, that you are actually loving and seeing how I actually put this layered die cuts using a layering die set to come up with this awesome, layered flowers and leaves together. All right, so there you go. Okay, very, very detailed. So I have to move fast, okay, before they actually dry up. Okay, and hopefully remove the excess, okay, before they actually, okay, show up. There you go. That's one leaf down. Okay, so let's do the next one. Maybe I should have, yes, but I was also busy yesterday because I had a church event. So it's been a very busy weekend, but a very blessed one. I'm so blessed to be been able to again attend the group leaders retreat, okay, in church, and at the same time still was able to arrive just in time for our craft every day in August. It's just that I had less preparation. So, unlike my previous episodes in the previous years, where I actually somehow I'm able to prepare for at least a week of content. Okay, so for now, it's like I do it on the same day. All preparations, right? But it's doable. It's very, very doable. All right. And I'm very grateful that you guys don't actually are okay with being imperfectly imperfect or perfectly imperfect, so to speak. Right. So, yes, yours truly is definitely, a constant work in progress. And I hope that if you are a beginner and that, this encourages you to actually start sharing your awesome passion of, creating handmade cards or other products, that actually it is not perfection. But sometimes we just want to see how actually others do it, right? So the process. So is there something that, maybe I have done that maybe you don't do and somehow you might want to try? At the same time, in my case, when I watch other people's videos, I'm inspired by, oh, you can actually do that. Oh, I think I like that. I've never tried that, right? So that is basically a way of being also inspired. Okay, so again, this is the Open Bloom 3D set. Okay, and this is what it looks like, and these are the leaves, and that is done. All right, so we've done two. Okay, so the next one is another beautiful one, and this one is called the Mini Flower Cluster Layering Die Set, and this is what it looks like. One of my favorites, right? So this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers for this one, and the leaves is 1, 2, 3. All right. So you can absolutely tweak this, to the kind of, color and texture of the paper that you want. So you always start with, okay, so in this case, you'll see that it doesn't have to always be like the lighter, the darker to the darkest, right? In this case, you will see that I actually used a different color and then dark to light. Okay. So you can, experiment, so to speak. Right? Let me see. Let me check the chat. What have I been missing? Yes, another good way to actually use your scraps. Yes, and yes, thank you so much, Sammy, for the reminder. Don't forget to hit that like button, my friends. Yes, my favorite part is about layer is seeing the final product. Absolutely. Right? So it's like so exciting to see. Okay. All right. So when you're putting it together, okay. So what now? Right? So once you see the final product, it's like, wow, really? Okay, so this one, oh, I actually forgot to check. Okay, so, but this one's fairly easy because it actually fits. Okay, so it's actually the same. It's just that the parts of the flower in the middle are open. Okay, there's a cut to show the bottom part of the, oops, there's still a washi tape. Okay, of the background. All right, and then the next would be this one. Okay, so I'll just put adhesive onto, okay, this part. Okay, so if, again, as I said, this is also a great way to de-stress, because as you need to concentrate and making sure that you have adhesive on all those tiny, tiny sides and stuff. So if you are worried about something, somehow that has to take a back step so that you can focus on this one. And hopefully by the time that you need to go back and, work on whatever that issue is, you have actually cleared your mind, can think even better. And there, at the same time, you are able to create something that you can use for your future projects later on, right? So that is what this one now looks like. And of course, we need to put, the final detail, okay, for our card. Let me check, for our image. And this one, actually, 1, 2, 3. So this one, okay, so this part, okay, is over there. All right. Let me see. Okay. All right. Okay, it's like that. Okay. All right. Okay, I just have to check, okay, which part this one, okay, would come on. Okay, so there you go. There you go. All right, so it's on that side only. Okay, and then we have another part. Okay, this one. Okay, I need to remove the washi tape, because you see some parts are just tiny, tiny, tiny. All right, and this one would go somewhere here. Okay, over there. Right? So they have done the difficult process of thinking about how it would look very much, like 3D, have that 3D look. Okay, again, if you want more depth and dimension, instead of just using liquid glue, okay, you could actually use foam. Okay, maybe use the foam on the topmost layer. Okay. Unless you really want it to be chunky, then you could start from, the beginning and layer it up like so. Look at that. Can you see the different layers, my friend? Look at the awesome layering. Again, you can even ink the edges to give it that more, awesome look. Okay, and this one would go over. Where was it? Oh, over there. Oops, no, I don't think it was there. Remove. Okay, where was this one supposed to be? Okay, there. Okay. Okay, and then you have those tiny, tiny pink details, right? Those 4, these ones. They're so tiny. Look at that, right? So where will they go? So you can just choose where you want to put them, okay? In any of the middle parts of, this one. Okay, so I feel, okay, I'll just put this down over here. Okay. All right. I'll just grab another one. Okay. And this one I feel is the biggest one, so I'll put it right over here. So it's a tad lighter than the one in the middle. Okay, so you can still see it. All right, and then this one. Look at how tiny these are. Okay, again, if you don't want to put them in, if you feel you're going to be stressed putting them in, then, you don't need to. Okay, these are just suggestions. At the end of the day, you do you, right? So if you don't want to be stressed because it's too tiny, you can no longer hold it, right? Or probably even while die cutting, you already lost it. How many of you have done that, right? So while you're die cutting, you couldn't find it anymore after. It's like sometimes it gets stuck to the magnet or it gets stuck to the bottom of your mat or whatever, right? And then you also need to put, you know, this part, this, okay, this tiny part over here, okay? So you have that, okay, and then the others would have to go with the leaves. Okay, so this one will go over there. Again, I'm just trying to basically really follow. Okay, but you don't need to if you're having a hard time, trying to, find where things should like align and stuff. All right, it's just that I've done this many times, so I'm kind of, more or less know where things should go. So if you are, doing this for the first time, even if you don't align them perfectly, it will still look very good, right? I tell you. All right. So, and then this one, okay, would look like that one. Okay. So each of the die sets, the nice thing about it is they do have different kinds of, on top of different kinds of flowers, they do have different kinds of leaves, right? So you can mix and match the leaves if ever, right? So again, thank you so much to those who are here watching or just, lurking around, not commenting. That's absolutely fine. Thank you so much for dropping by, my dear friends. So you can see, all right? So the most, normally those big ones come at the bottom, and then as the dies or the die cuts get smaller, it means that they go on top. Okay, so the more detailed they are, okay, the higher they are going to be on your layering, image or layered image. Okay, like so. Okay, and then finally, we have the third kind of leaf that is part of this set. This is the mini flower clustering layer die set. Okay, all of the ones I'm using right now are from Altenew. Okay. And then there are also layering cover dies, right? So not just like images like this, even backgrounds, okay, can actually, just like you're layering stencils and layering stamps. All right. So this one, if you could see the leaves, so there are parts of the leaves that have that and have this one, like the lighter one. Okay, so I will put this over there. Okay, again, to just, make it a little, okay, look. Okay, I think that one is for this one. Okay, and then this smaller one, okay, actually goes, okay, near, where does this one go? Okay, so probably this one goes over there. All right, so there you go. Okay. So I never thought that I actually would love doing this because it's like, they're so intricate. I don't like doing that. It's going to take me forever. But as I mentioned, it has become quite, a way for me to distress. And so when I'm kind of stressed out, I would, I would prepare, I would just cut, even though I don't have any use for it at that moment. I would actually intentionally do it so I can have at the same time, something that I could use for future, right? But at the same time, also help me out, to distress a little bit. Okay. So again, you just need to find where, those pieces eventually have to go to. And I want to put it over there like so. Okay. And that is your layered leaves. So let's take a little bit of a focused look. Okay, so again, this is the mini flower layering die set. All right. Okay, so we will actually create cards later for this one. So if you do need to go, I understand it might be, you probably need to go to sleep early, or You might want to do something because it's, Sunday for family and church and stuff. Okay, it's just that for me, I am, this is going to be, I will create two or three more. Okay, three more different sets. This is actually from, this set is called the anemone. Anemone? Anemone? All right. So I'm not sure about the pronunciation. So it will include this kind of flower, this one, and this leaf. Okay. I just hope it. Okay. It focuses. Okay. And then after that is gonna be the monstera. All right, on a piece of pot. Okay. So again, everything I'm doing right now, okay, are actually floral themed because I actually really love flowers, right? So if I need to do something really, really fast, okay, my go to techniques are foiling, letterpress, okay, and since I normally have a lot of this already at hand, because as I said, normally when I'm not doing anything, I'll show you, okay, what I have. I kid you not when I say that I actually have extras of this just waiting to be used. Okay, I will show you in what I'm doing right now is just basically gonna add up to my, ready to use collection. Okay, as this is something that can always, you know, give that amazing oomph to any card I make. As the layering itself is something pretty awesome that 100% everyone that gets something like this from me would always be at awe about, wow, that is so beautiful. Okay, they don't know it was actually very easy to make. All right, I just had to have, and use this layering die sets, right? So the only thing you need is actually time to put them together. Okay, die cut them, put them together. And again, if you do have a lot of, tiny scraps like this, they are not really very big, right? So you can actually finally, smash those scraps and create a ton of flowers and leaves. And of course, it's almost fall, right? And the leaves don't have to always be green. So if you have those fall colored papers, okay, that you have as scraps, then you can absolutely use them as well, okay, to create, or to use as your paper to be cut to create this awesome, layered images. Okay, as normally you would use different colors of coordinating cardstocks. Okay, in this case, you may also actually absolutely, use your scraps. So those are our flowers, I mean leaves. Now we move on to our flowers. This flower has only 4 layers. So this one, that one, that one, that one. So for this, I use again the lightest to darkest. Okay. So let's check first which one goes where. All right. So from this, you can see that this part, okay, somehow, and that part, okay, coordinates with that. So this is how it's gonna look like first. Okay, so let's hang on to that side of it. Okay, and then add adhesive. Okay, so if you plan to do something like this, having a fine tip, okay, adhesive tip for your bottle, okay, is going to be very, very useful. Okay, so as to create this whoop, 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 whoop. See what happened there? I actually added it too early. Okay, so I gotta move really fast. Okay, to actually, okay, I don't think I can move. Okay, so this is something a little bit of a struggle. So you see, I wasn't able to align that perfectly well because I actually adhered it too tightly. Couldn't move it anymore. It's gonna tear it. So that's fine. Because it's gonna have that 3D look anyways, right? So don't worry about it. Okay, don't throw it out. Okay, so this one has to align to this part. All right, so okay, forget about the lower layer and just move on to the next one. Okay, so it's gonna look like that. So do you see the imperfection? No, because as you layer it, that would actually, not be very visible anyways. Especially that they don't know which one goes with what, right? So that is absolutely fine. All right, so gosh, where am I supposed to align it? Oh, over here. Okay. Sometimes I forget as well where. Okay, so normally I will not press on it too hard so that I can have that, bit of a time to, push and pull, okay, before I actually, press on it. All right. And then finally, the last part. Okay, this one. Okay, and it says here it's over there. Okay, so let me see. What is this flower? This is the one that looks like that. So this one goes over there. All right, so let me take a look. Okay, at this one. It actually goes over here. All right, so that round thing over there, that is where I'm going to align. All right. Definitely, there is always that part where you're supposed to align it. Okay, in this case, where you make like a U-turn onto that spot over there is where we are going to align it from the previous layer. Okay, so where was that? That one. Okay, and then this one. Okay, so there you go. And that's it. Beautiful. Love it. Right? It's very, very pretty. Yes, right? And less messier as well. Right? So actually it is. The only downside to it is I feel it's more expensive than your layering stamps and your layering stencils. So in terms of price point, the cheapest in terms of layering, tools would be your layering stencils, okay? Followed by your layering stamps and then your layering dies. But not by much, not by much. Just a tiny bit more expensive than your dies. I mean than your stamps, okay? Okay, I forgot to remove, the washi tape over here, because if there's a washi tape, it's hard to put adhesive onto that one because washi tape backs are normally, shiny and non-porous. So you want to remove that. All right, and then we will add here. Okay, so in this case, where is my alignment point? Okay, so this part. All right, so make sure that I don't press on it too hard just yet until I know that that is actually the alignment I want. Once I know that's it, okay, and then I start pushing. Okay, so you see this part, it's not perfectly aligned, that's fine. As long as the others are aligned, it means it's really meant to look like that because you need to have that, you want that 3D look. All right, so this one would go over there. So it's supposed to look like this. Okay, like that. Okay, so let's go grab our dandy tiny tweezers. Oh, before I actually see, I see already again, some washi tape, because to put it into place when I die cut so it doesn't move, because remember I want to use up my scraps. So normally I would really make it like the paper are as big as the dice only, right? Because these are scraps that I want to use up. Okay, so they are not really big sheets of paper. Okay, so if they move a little bit, that's gonna be it. So I try to use a washi tape to keep it in place, so that even though as I move it through my die cutting machine and it begins to cut it, it's not gonna move too much. All right, so now I just have to remember where exactly Okay, I supposed to align this one? All right, so I think it's this one. All right. Okay, again, do not press too hard just yet. Okay, because you're still trying to figure out where it's supposed to align. All right, so come on, where? All right, so okay, so it's over there, here. All right, and then I have to be also very fast. If there are glue that somehow seeps through, I probably added too much. I can easily remove it. And most of this glue, anyway, the one that we use, they dry clear. Okay, so there you go. All right, and then now we put the middle part. Okay, so this time around with this flower, it goes. Let me see where I'm. Okay, again. Okay, at that part. Is it that part or is it this part? All right, so I feel it is this part. Okay, so this bottom. All right, so let us go ahead and add adhesive to that. I hope that you are not bored to death watching me put this together. It would have been nicer if I just showed you the finished product, but then I just wanted to show you how you actually put it together, right? How do you layer it? And I think that the best way to do that is to actually show you, the process of how I do it. All right, so those are now this one. Okay, this is the anemone. Anemone. I'm not sure. All right. Okay. Layering die set. All right. Next one. Okay. Is a recent favorite of mine. And this is called the Monstera. Okay. Monstera 3D set. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of the fern family, right? We actually have one, okay, in our garden. So you can actually create this, 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 and then this tiny one, and then this. And of course, you can have their pots, right? So let's put them together, okay? So the pots are quite easy to put together. Okay, so the solid one, okay, is actually always the base. So I just mix and match. Okay, I just cut a strip of this, because mats more or less, pots more or less look like this color, right? Like earthenware, right? So a bit of this. And since it's almost fall, it wouldn't hurt that, I focus on that so I can have, pots that I can use for my. Okay, this is, see, I struggle with, this is a reverse tweezer. See, if you can see, I'm not holding it, but it's actually keeping the die in place. Okay, and then when you want to release it, that's the time that you actually open it, right? So I'm not so used to using it, but it's actually, great for those, so that your hands are not stressed from pressing onto it so that it won't fall. So you just pinch it, okay, and it's gonna stay there unless you open it up, okay, like so. All right. It's just, it takes getting used to, because we're so used with the to using the regular. Okay, so look, this one is always closed, this one is open. So to when you're holding something, you have to press it down, and if you're gonna hold it for a long time, it's gonna take a toll on your wrist, right? So that's why reverse tweezer is actually quite nice if you're gonna be working with a ton of paper piecing and stuff, because it's gonna you know um prevent that pain, or pain caused by too much, okay, stress on your wrist. Okay, so we have all our pots ready. Okay, and now we just put all our monstera plants together. Okay, so this one is the main one, and then you have a die that would cut another part of the leaf so that you could layer it like so. All right, I just find that using the non-reverse or the traditional tweezer is easier for me to use if it's just, a little bit of, not too many projects. But if really I need to, do a lot of paper piecing together, I have to do the reverse one. Okay, so that's one. Okay, and this is another one. So it's the opposite direction. right? So it's like a mirror, and it's smaller than the other monstera plant. Okay. So it's like, you know how it is, the sun is here, the light is coming from here, so it's darker here, lighter here. So it does have like that kind of effect, but without actually using coloring. Okay, just the use of different, colored cardstocks. Okay, so you can have still have that kind of an ombre look as if you colored it. Okay, but in fact not. You just use, different colored cardstocks to have the feel of, again, that there is a change in the colors and stuff. So that's what that would look like. Okay, and then let's do this. Okay, so for this one, and let's put it in a pot later on, and I'll show you some of the stuff that I actually have done. You'd be surprised how many I have, so that if ever I need to come up with a card super fast, I can. So this one, actually, I forgot to remove my washi tape. Since this is very tiny, I think the washi tape covered the whole thing. So I have to actually remove that. Okay, there you go. Painstakingly, but I did it. All right, so pardon my nails. I haven't been able to go to the salon, but actually Dinky and I, my dear friend in the chat, has found this awesome product that is just a sticker. Okay, but I can use so that I don't need to always go to the nail salon to have, awesome nails. All right, so the last one for the monstera plant, this is 3 layers as well. Okay, is this one. All right, so I just need to, okay, I think I need to put this one at the bottom. Okay, so I can still have, that show, because I want that circle to show still. All right. All right, and then where is that? Okay, so it has a bit of washi. Oh, sorry, forgot. My mic is at the back. Are you guys still there? Sorry, I am. Okay, I'm just focusing on this one, so I haven't been checking on the chat. Okay, oops. Wrong. Okay, so where am I supposed to put this one? All right, so there you go. All right. That is our Monstera set. Okay, let me just go to the back. To the chat. Yes, so pretty, right? Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for dropping by, my friend. Sorry, I just saw your message just now, and she's saying hi to everybody. And of course, another Linda, friend of ours in the chat. Hi, Linda. Yes, Linda is almost always all the time here with us, and I pray that you have actually fully healed, my dear friend. All right, so take good care. I need to run. Yes. Okay, Vicky, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, my friend. Yes, blessings to you. Absolutely. We'll catch the rest later. Yes, that's how Vicky does it, actually. All right. So, of course, in the morning, there are so many things we need to do, right? So, I'm so blessed that you guys are actually here. And so, what Vicky does is, after, okay, if she has time already, like in the afternoon or evening, she goes back for the replay. And you can always do that, my friends, right? Not just for me, but for our other friends who might go live. We're all from different parts of the globe, right? So, okay, so sometimes you actually are at work or need to do something when someone else is live. All right, so this one, my friend, I forgot. Okay, this is actually the last one, and it's called a puppy. Yes, that's a puppy plant, a puppy flower. Okay, so that's the one we're going to be doing this, that, and the leaves. All right, that is the last actually for the day. And then we will create cards out of these that we have made. Right? So maybe if you want to mass produce this and then use them later, you could do so, while watching TV or something like that. Oops, 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 oops. What am I doing? It does actually look like this, okay? Okay. Again, before you actually put it down, make sure that you know where is your, alignment part. Okay, so that's the one. All right, and then the next one. Okay, let me see my die. Okay, it says, so after that one, okay, this one. Okay, so that small part like this. All right, this one. Okay, and that will go, I think, over there. All right, so that will go over there. Okay, so what color? How do you know what color to use, Mami Lala? Okay, so you look at the sample, okay, in the packaging. So like in this case, so look, this and then dark and then the same color as this one. So I just followed, right? So that darker and then the same color as that one. And then the next one would be the darker one. Okay, so and then this one would look like this. Okay, I'll just have to find where it should align. And this one actually is there at the bottom. Okay, do you see? It aligns perfectly over there at the bottom. All right, so now I grab it. Okay, and I put my adhesive on it like so. Okay, and okay, is this kind of mesmerizing, you guys? Okay, are you mesmerized by the process? Okay, so I hope that you are liking this and that you would, try this one for size. Maybe you could find one on sale, or Black Friday is coming up soon, so this is something that you might want to maybe just grab one layering die set, right? So maybe either for a cover die, or maybe for something like this. So look at this one, there is that part where it actually aligns with this, so you just put it over there. It's like a puzzle, kind of a puzzle, right? So that is, okay, one of the flower, and then let's put, okay, this flower together. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. The one we did is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so this one does have a little bit more layers to it. Okay, so first thing we do is we find where we should align it. All right, so that would be this part and that part. Okay, so the sides of it is what we want to align. Okay, and then if you still have some washi tape at the back left over, okay, so from when you die cut it and then somehow you also were able to die cut the washi tape, don't forget to remove that because your adhesive will not stick. Okay, because that is a non-porous one, and liquid adhesives like this might not work best for those. All right, so okay, as I align it, I don't really put any pressure until I know that that's the perfect position, and then I start putting pressure so that they get, okay, adhered together like so. Okay, the next one is the next, okay, the darkest, oh, not the darkest, but the next darker one. Okay, and I again would want to look for where should I align. Okay, and I see that it's over there on this side and there. So the sides. Okay, so look at the middle. It doesn't align with anything, but the sides will. All right, so oops, again, you see, I again have some washi tape that I just need to remove. Okay, sure it's not there, so that I can perfectly adhere and align this to the rest of my die cuts and come up with this a beautiful poppy plant, okay, as it says in the packaging. So again, we said that it's actually going to be aligned onto the sides. Okay, so that part and this part and that part, and everything else then will follow. All right, and then the next part would be this one, this and that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach this together first, okay, before I actually attach this bigger piece onto that. Okay, I find that it's just again faster to do that because it's easier to attach this first when the bottom part is still not attached to the everything else. So if ever I have excess glue, it can easily remove it and not mess up the bigger part of my image. So like so. Okay, so again the alignment would be onto the bottom side and the sides like so. It's so pretty. All right, and now I will just adhere this one, okay, to the rest of my flower, which actually goes over here and over there. And that's it. Okay, not yet because there's still that middle part, okay, of the flower. Okay, and it would be this part, okay, where I feel this is going to look like so. Okay, but first you need to put the adhesive. Okay, so this is something like a preview to, as we await the Advent season, right? So the release of, the Spellbinders Advent calendar, where most of the time, the pieces are so tiny, 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 right? But they're gorgeous. So I'm actually awaiting, excitedly for it. Okay, what we will be able to, of course, I'm gonna do again. I love the series I did last year where we did the advent calendar for the Stitch Mass and at the same time the regular advent you know um calendar release of spellbinders. And let's see if I can get a hold of some other advent calendar that's gonna be released this year, okay, on your side of the globe. All right, so I did do one that is bought locally, okay, from, although it's not actually made here, okay, so from, what's the name, Flying Tiger. Okay, I think it's from Norway, I think. Right, so look at that. It's so pretty, right? So tiny, like leaf, like buds. Okay. Kind of look like buds or tiny, tiny, but they are actually leaves. Okay. And so, as I mentioned, the nice thing about this is that every collection has a different kind of leaf. So you can actually mix and match that with them. Okay, so if you get tired of using the same kind of leaf, okay, you can use the other leaf dyes from the other collection. Okay, and then mix and match. But I guess this is actually what is really meant for kind of this plant. This is what it looks like. But then if you want to be, whimsical, you can actually mix and match. That's absolutely fine. Wow. Okay. So how long did it take us to actually put this together? We started at 9. Now it's 10:37. So we've been here for 1.5 hours just putting all of this together. Okay. So of course I already did all the die cutting prior to, my Bible study later on, because immediately after my Bible study, I just had, just time enough for dinner, and then I went live. All right, so that's why I wasn't able to put. And then you, of course, you have your die cut stems, right? Which are actually quite long. So this would be like perfect for your mini slimline that opens up like on top, or your slimline cards, as the stems are actually quite long. All right. So we have Susan. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Same to you, my dear friend. Good morning, good morning. Oh, Christelle is still here. Yes, and of course, Linda and Wims. It is so beautiful, right? So gorgeous. Yes, that's why I love layering dice. Okay, new technique for me. Yeah, so if you can just, maybe you don't need to buy all of this. Okay, just choose one set that resonates with you, right? Again, this has been, quite I think this one, when was it released? Prior to the pandemic, I know. So it must have been maybe 2016, 17, something like that. So it's been here for quite a while. So I'm sure a lot, you might look at the internet and probably find some people distashing this one, or probably, on sale, right? Yes, Wims. And of course, Wims, as being a member of my Joyful Crafters Club, you always have access to this if and when you are able to come to the center event. No worries. You deserve to sleep in, my friend, because it's Sunday. Right? Yes, Yvette. Saying hi to everybody is for Yvette. Of course, Crystal and Susan. You're not much later than me. I did the same thing. And that's great, right? So the best way to actually spend Sunday is just to relax, spend time with family, go to church, and everything else is just extra, right? So the Lord said, yes, work 6 times a day, but let one day at least be your Sabbath, your rest day. All right, there you go. Hi, Wims. Just don't forget to, oh yes, leave your like. Thank you, Susan. I was the same way about small dice, but I love them now. Right, Yvette? Because it's like, oh my goodness, this is going to take me forever. Right? But again, the reward is once you finish it, it's like, wow, it's so beautiful. It's like, every time people would look at it, even I would look at it, it's like, wow, I did this. It's like, but again, I am so grateful to the designers, to the manufacturers, that they have such a brilliant, a creative genius mind to come up with products like this. Yes, and it does force you to slow down. Indeed, Linda, right? And we have Martine. Hello, hello, everyone. No worries, Martine. You are always, always welcome. And it's no one is ever late for this, right? You can always watch on replay, my friends, right? I really, really appreciate you. Yes. Oh, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. This is still Monstera. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, my friends. I'm so sorry. I already ordered 2 different advent calendars. Oh my goodness. I can't wait, Yvette. So actually, Yvette does also advent calendar series. So normally I would, make mine so fast so that I can hop on to Yvette's. Right? So that is super awesome. You know how Yvette can work through things very, very fast, right? So sometimes she does like 2 or 3 projects in a day, right? Featuring different advent calendars. If that's something that's new to you or you are excited to see that, don't forget to also check out Yvette's channel and make sure that you subscribe so that you won't miss that awesome series that she does for the month of December. All right. So I think from Germany, we just went there earlier. Flying Tiger Copen. Oh, okay. It's Germany. Thank you so much. So it's not Norway. Okay, it's Germany. Thank you, Wims. So it's actually a store here, what do you call it? Crafty store. They sell cute, cute stuff, gift items and stuff, and they do have like even blank advent calendars, and they do have some crafty advent calendars that are quite easy for anyone of any age, and with or without tools, because everything is already in the kit. So I actually let my kids do that last year. I'm excited to do that again this year. It was so much fun. Indeed, it was. Although there are several of us doing, sometimes we overlap in terms of like the advent calendar, but you'd be surprised because each one of us has a different take on it. So if you're looking for awesome inspiration for those advent calendars, yes. And if you feel the excitement and that I and Yvette has, because it is really amazing. It's like, Christmas every day, right? As we open up each day, right? So it's really pretty awesome. All right, so let's go through again some of the ones that we actually have die cut. So this is our last one, okay, and this is called the poppy. Okay, craft a flower poppy. Okay, again, everything is from Altenew. Okay, layering die set. Okay, so this one. Okay, my hands are very dirty now. So this one, and of course these sleeves. So this is what we have done. All right, so we've put it together. Okay, and before that, of course, the Monstera plant. Okay, I find that, you know, I'm just so, because I had to rush. I forgot to get some of the samples of the cards, because all of the cards that I have done are already in the club hub, okay, in my center. So I don't have any here. Very little. I think the only one I have here is my KCC 19, right? Because I'm still doing videos for that, but everything else is not here anymore. So we created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of variations of the Monstera plant. And of course, if you do want to like put them in pots, it also comes with the die for the pots. Okay, and then we will actually create, you know, some cards using this tonight. Okay, so that you can see how awesome this will be as a finished project as well. So look at that. Okay, just a preview of, you know, what you can do with this Monstera plants. So you can mix and match, right? Like so. You can already see the inspiration coming, right? All right, so the next kind, okay, of layering, okay, flower that we are able to do is the anemone, okay, layering die set. So we did this flower is this, okay, that one is this one, and of course this is your leaves, right? And then you have this one, okay, and this is actually your mini flower cluster layering die set. Again, these are old. I don't know if it's still available, but you may check out Altenew, right? So I'm not sure if any of my dear friends in the chat has you know, affiliate link. If you do so, message me. All right. So this is basically what you are able to do. And these are the leaves. So this is basically what I am able to create. Okay, very, very similar. And then these are the leaves. All right. Okay, the next one that I created for tonight is from this layering die set called Open Bloom 3D die set. Okay, so we were able to create this flower, okay, and these two kinds of leaves. All right, and this is it. Okay, so this one, as you can see, so if you want more depth and dimension, you could actually even use, you know, foam underneath each so that it will have more depth and dimension. And these are the leaves that I was able to create. All right. And last but not the least, of course, is rose. Okay, I even have a classic rose, but a friend of mine borrowed the die, so it's still not with me. Okay, so but this is what it looks like. And then you have this leaf and this leaf, okay, also included in the die set. All right, and this is what the leaves look like after layering, and this is what the flowers look like. All right, and now we will create, you know, cards out of them. Okay, so you can create tags, you can create cards, you can decorate your, you know, your gift bag, you know, whatever it is. Okay, there's so many applications for this layering die set. And we have Sanam Arts and Ad. Hello, thank you so much. He was here a few days ago when I did like calligraphy. Was it yesterday? Or the other day, I think the other day, and he watched me struggle so much, and I thank him for giving me advice and tips as I was going through that. Thank you so much, Sanam, for dropping by again. And Martine said, I love it. Yes, Wims remembers Sanam, and yes, he is back. All right, so if you see anyone in the chat, and probably this is the first time you've seen them, maybe you would want to check out their channels as well. And if you see and if you like what you see there, you know, highly suggest that, you know, follow them as well and subscribe. All right. So for those who are wondering, how did you choose all the different cardstock colors? All right. So in a way, again, I highly suggest that you check out your scraps, right? So we have, and if you are like me, I store my scraps based on colors. Right? So first, there's this first bin where it goes something like this, right? As I'm working. And then after I'm done working, I will now separate this into different color families. right? And put them in smaller baggies. And then I do have a bin for all my scraps, right? So since I don't normally like, especially if they still have like sides like that, because we do have dice that are really, 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 really tiny, so that can still be used. So if you have the desire to actually finally smash those scraps that you have, then you could absolutely do that. Or if you don't have any scraps yet, you're just beginning, you can check out these collections. Like Alton U has this gradient cardstock where it normally gives you between 3 to 4 different colored cardstocks already, just big enough for your layering die set. So it doesn't come in an A4 size or a letter size or 6x6. It's just I think this one is a, hold on, okay, in case you want to know the size, it comes in a 6x3, so it's 3x6. Okay, so because most of their layering dies are just the same size, right? So it comes in like green, purple, you have rose, you have red, you have, different variations of this color. And then you have red sunset, you have summer afternoon, and many, many more. But then again, if you have been crafting for a long time and you have a lot of solid cardstocks, then yes, by all means, like what I did today, when I ran out of my greens, I just pulled out some of my 12x12, right? Okay, so this is my lightest, followed by this, and this is my darkest. So you can absolutely also use those 12x12 solid cardstocks that you have been hoarding for the longest time and use them. All right, so again, this is one that I wasn't able to use anymore. So here's another one. You have the coffee break. So this one's in brown. And this one's my favorite. One of my favorite, the seashore, right? And I'm sure Lynn would be so in love with this because it has teal in it, right? So this is one that I wasn't able to create anymore because I had no time anymore. And this is called the Morning Glory layering die set. And there are so many more out there. So this is like the newer kind of die where, because there's just so many, in one die, it combines so many of the parts instead of like doing it in others where it's all separate. Right? This one combines a lot of the different parts together so that it is more, it's cheaper and faster because you don't need to put this one. So it's all together. You just cut all of this in one color, this, and then just put them together, right? So as I mentioned, as the years has gone by, they have actually improved also the instructions and how to put them together better and easier. Okay, so let me see. All right, okay. Okay, I think Christelle is going. Yes, thank you so much, Christelle. Have a great rest of the day. Yes, I've been here for almost 3 hours, 9, 10, 2 hours, right? So, and I know that, your day has started, and please go ahead, spend time with your family and friends, do some me time, whatever it is, go to the spa, nail salon, whatever it is. Have a great rest of the day, my friends. But I will just create some cards using these ones, right? So again, thank you. Thank you so much, Christelle, and hope to see you again in our future episodes. Yes, Sammy said those scraps can definitely be used for another project in the future. And Linda is also saying hi, bye to Christelle. So smart to have those coordinating packs, right? And I know that other manufacturers, is this not exclusive to Alta New, also have, maybe different, like, I know, what do you call this? Michael's. Okay, actually reminded of that. Yes, I think the last time I was there in the US was 2 years ago, right? So they had this something like this, right? So you see, it's all solid card stocks, right? And they're coordinated, right? And it's so cheap, right? So this one was, I think it was 40% off when I was there. So I got the blue, the green, the red, even the This is like glitter. Okay, so I really had a hard time trying to bring everything back home, as that trip I was just alone, because I attended creator camp in Boston and then dropped by my friend in Florida. So I really didn't have, much, luggage weight available for me. So what I ended up doing is just leaving all my clothes and stuff that I brought and try to bring whatever it is I was able to buy from there. Okay, and some actually I still had to send back through, through courier. Okay, by ship. Okay, so it's that not by air, so it's not too expensive. Yes, thank you, thank you. Wow, I wish I had those dice. Linda, watch out for like these dash, or maybe you can go on eBay. These dice are old. These are not new. Okay, I'm not even sure if it's available because again, I think it never really did, became very popular. Otherwise, all of you might have this, right? I think the price point was a little bit high for because again it's made of metal dies, right? And most of the time there's just so many pieces, right? Look at this, how many pieces. Normally your die set would include maybe one to two or three, right? But this is just so many, and thus it's a little bit more pricey. So I think people in terms of price point preferred the layering stencils and layering stamps, as they are cheaper. It still has that awesome like 3D effect and stuff, right? But then with those you cannot layer in terms of actual dimension, right? But if you're not really into that, then it's okay. Again, this is probably not for everyone, but I just wanted to share in case you are like me who likes this. So if you remember, we had that stencil episode, and these were just some of those that I actually created during that episode, right? And these are just some of the things that we were able to create. And today, let's see how many of these that we actually created earlier we can turn into cards, right? So let's try this one. So you see this one, I used texture paste and a little bit of inking. Okay, so could be a nice background for this. Okay, or would it be nicer for this one? Okay, I think that this is kind of small. It might get lost in all the details. So I feel that I think I would probably would want to use this instead. I probably won't turn everything into a card, as we might stay here quite longer than I would. Actually, I'm enjoying this, but I also don't want to belabor you too much in terms of your time. Okay, so look at that. What a beautiful sight to see, right? So we can, since this is kind of textured, so when this happens, it's best that I actually use double-sided to make sure that it stays in place, right? So okay, let's do this part. Okay, so remember again, this one, if you want to check how I did that, that was for our episode in stencils, right? So we did do stencils a few days ago. I forgot what day it is, my friends. So that's why I said just wait for it, okay? And we will use some of this as we move along the in August, as we will use some of the things that we actually created, basic creations, and then we will turn them into projects alongside other techniques that we will be doing this month of August. Okay, I'm just having a difficulty removing the release tape from this double-sided adhesive, as it is very, very sticky. There you go. So I want to put it like so over there. All right, and this one I want to put it a little bit, I want to have a little bit of that peeking through. Okay, at the same time over there. Okay. So we will put this actually here flat. Okay. And the one I'm going to layer is the flower on top of it. Okay. So if you see, I do mix, my adhesives that I have. Depends on, the kind of look that I want. Okay. And then so for this one, I want to layer this one. Okay. So that it would be my kind of my focal point. All right. So I would use a double-sided adhesive foam tape. Okay. But it's foam. So it does have that, only I can find my, all right. So I can have a little bit more depth. Okay, so dimension on dimension, right? So I love dimension. And I see a washi tape over there. Okay, so let's remove that. Let's remove this. Let's remove that. All right, and then put this like that. Okay, and then sneak in that last leaf onto, okay, underneath that top flower. And the only thing I need now is an actual sentiment. And I will pull out some sentiments that I actually did during foiling. Okay. So these are some foiled sentiments that I did in the past, not exactly during CEDA. Okay, but one of my episodes for Kenja's Card Challenge where I featured Crafty Krita, right? So there's this one is on rose gold. So this one I actually foiled. This is from Toner Foiling. Okay, I used rose gold for this one, right? So I'm just going to try and look for, the perfect sentiment. Okay, I feel that that's too long. I think Be Strong is nice, but maybe we can brighten the world. Everyone needs hugs. You deserve a hug. Bright. You're one in a million. Oh, that's a great sentiment, right? You rock. You are wonderful. Oh, maybe this is nice, right? So you are wonderful. Okay, guys, you decide because I cannot. All right. Do you want you are wonderful or you are fabulous? I think you are fabulous. All right. That's it, guys. Sorry. In the end, I decided. Right. So that's why when I have, let's say, my foiling machine out, I try to create a lot. Right? Since anyway, sometimes we're lazy to like, oh, I need to pull it out. I need to plug it. I need to have my dice and stuff. So if you have something out, and then you're making a project, I highly suggest that, you create some more, right? A little bit more. Okay, so that you can use it for, future projects like what I'm doing right now. So now I know that I need a sentiment for this. So I just pulled out some of my previously, foiled sentiments and then use it now for this one. And this is actually, rose gold. So it's just perfect. Okay. So I will use, a strip of, okay, 2 strips of, I do want it to be layered a bit, okay, as I want it, okay, to actually be seen a bit. Okay, more. Okay. So there. It's gonna be you are fabulous. Okay. Okay. Okay, maybe I want it a little bit higher. The good thing it hasn't, adhered too much. Yes, okay. I felt that was just way too low. There you go. You are fabulous. Let me see. Somehow there it looks like lopsided. It doesn't look straight. There. That's it. Right? So 1 card down. And if you want to make it even, add a little bit more, some more bling to it. Okay, you can add some more of this faux pearls that I have. All right, and then just sprinkle it with a little bit of that, not too much, just a dash. Okay. So, okay, and I will put it on the parts where there's a little bit of pink so that it would show, because if you put it on the white side, then that won't be seen. Okay, whoop. Where is my... Right, so it slid onto that part. Okay, and then where's the third one? Let's do the rule of odds. Okay, so remember when you're putting embellishments and stuff on your cards, so putting odd numbered items onto, your projects actually is more, appealing in terms of also the triangle also. There you go. You are fabulous. So this is foiled, that one we created from our first project. All right. Susan said, I'm still listening. I'm actually crafting with the Karen Burniston Woodland Animals dies right now. Oh, I think this is probably one of Susan's purchases during the Paper Ganza event, right? So if you don't know about Paper Ganza, it's actually a face-to-face event, okay, hosted by Mary Gunn of Craft Roulette. And it was so much fun to actually, just watch from afar, right, Susan, and other friends of ours were able to come, during that awesome event. Thank you so much again, Susan. Okay, and I think for the interest of time, it's already 11. I've been here 2 hours. So probably you will see some of this turned into cards in a short video. I'll probably turn this into cards in one and turn them into shorts. Okay, I haven't done shorts for quite a while, so that would be turned into a short. And that is my project for today. Again, the leaves and this one, the flowers, are actually done using layering dies. And so I hope that you like this episode. And yes, please don't forget to like and to subscribe. And let me see, where are my funny fun sticks that I have? All right, so here it is. Yes. Okay. So, yes, please don't forget to hit that like button. And yes, that notification bell, because it's very important, because when you hit that, okay, whenever I do my live streams or upload my edited videos or shorts, you hopefully will get notified. But the best way is to make sure that you are subscribed. Check, because sometimes every now and then, I don't know why, okay, sometimes you might get unsubscribed, especially if you've not visited us for quite a while. So check that you are still subscribed. And yes, please do share this video or some of my other videos. With that, thank you. Thank you so much, Yvette. Have a great rest of the day. I'm so excited for another week ahead with you guys. Thank you so much as well, Martine. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Wims. Yes, Susan, of course. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and spending your precious time with me this Sunday. Again, with that, God bless you all. See you again tomorrow for another Craft Everyday in August.